Welcome. In this video, I'll provide you with an introductory overview on how to use CallCabinet's Call Details page and guide you through its fundamental functions. Understanding the functions of the Call Details page provide the CallCabinet user powerful control over all their call data. Once you log into your CallCabinet account, and have not been taken to your call listing page but have ended up on the home page, please go to the menu panel on the left-hand side and click on the call listing icon in order that you may enter into the call listing view. If you are not sure as to how you are able to enable the automatic redirection to your call listing page upon login, please refer to CallCabinet's how-to video, the home page. When logging into the call listing page, by default, CallCabinet will list all the calls that have occurred on your account over the last 7 days. If the logged in user has the appropriate permissions, they are able to view far more details about each call. In order to view these details about a call, the user would go to the call that they would like to interrogate and click on the View Call button that is associated with that particular call. So for example, let's select this particular call. By clicking on the View Call button, the user is taken to the Call Details page, in which all the data relating to that call that has been selected will be rendered on the screen. It is important to note that depending upon the licenses that have been assigned, so the metrics and the visuals that will be displayed in this view will vary. To illustrate this, let's go back to our call listing page and select another call to demonstrate this. So we will select, for instance, this call over here. After a moment, you will see all your data being rendered on the screen relating to the call that you have just selected. You will also observe that there are numerous other features on the screen, including new visuals as well as other cards that have appeared on this particular screen. And so as you can see, there is a plethora of information you are able to work with when going into your call details page, and depending on the licenses that have been assigned the user, so this information will vary. We will look at this page in detail, and by the end of this session you should have a good understanding of how you are able to use your call details page. Let us now go ahead and look at the various sections of your call details page. On the top left-hand side of our call details page, you will see the assigned to card, and this illustrates the agent to whom this call has been assigned. If necessary, you are able to reassign this call to another agent. In order to do so, go to the right-hand side of the assigned to card and click on the little assigned to icon. In the dialog that appears, go to the Select Agent drop-down list, and then from this list go and select the agent to whom you want to assign this call. Once you have done that, click the Save button. The call will now be assigned to that newly selected agent. To the right of the Assigned to card is the Call Info card. This card displays all the metadata relating to the current call. And on the far right hand side of this call info card is a little eye icon, which when clicked will render more metadata relating to this call. The metadata that is displayed in these cards is dependent upon your PBX and the data that it is able to provide. To the right of the call info card is another card known as the Access Log card, and inside this card there is a lock icon. Clicking on that lock icon will reveal a dialog in which all the activity that has occurred on this call will be listed. For example, should the call have been played, it will show who played the call and at what time. If the call had been downloaded, likewise it will show the date and time of when the call was downloaded and by whom. So this provides a log of all the activity that has occurred on this call. To the right of the Access Log lock icon is a checkbox, Personal Call. Now, if a user logs in and has quality assurance license allowing them to do manual quality assurance, and they use the facility in which they are able to ask CallCabinet to randomly select a call against which they would like to do quality assurance, it is possible for the current logged in user to prevent this current call from being used in that random call selection process. To prevent this call from being used in that process, the current user would go ahead and check the personal call checkbox, saying that this call is now a personal call will result in CallCabinet not taking this call into account when randomly looking for a call. And of course the opposite is true. If you want this call to be used inside the random call selection process, then this checkbox must be unchecked. The next major section of your call details page is the call playback card. And it is in this section that you are able to play back the call as well as assign notes to this particular call. In order to play the call, you would press the play button, and notice as the call is being played, you will see this red bar moving across the screen showing you the position in which you are in on this call. And on the left hand side, if there are any videos, those videos will be displayed, and if there are any screen captures, those screen captures will also be displayed on this screen. You're able to fast forward the call by 15 seconds by clicking on the fast forward button, taking the call 15 seconds further into the call. You're able to rewind as well by 15 seconds by pressing the 15 seconds rewind button. Not only are you able to play at single times speed, but you're also able to play at double the speed by clicking the 2 times button. By clicking the 1 times button, takes you back to the normal speed. You are also able to jump over any white space, or let's call it silence, within the call by clicking on this particular button over here. It is possible to add notes to this call in different levels of granularity. The most granular note you can add to this call is known as the single notes note. And what you're able to do is go to a particular point within the call and go to the single notes line matching that part of the call and click in that area. Once you do that, a dialog appears in which you can type a particular note. Once you save that note, you will see the little note icon appear inside the single notes bar. This note is now applied to this exact part of this call. It is possible for you to add many single notes to this call. So for example, I can come here and add another note should I wish to. And once again, when I save it, you will see the little icon appear inside the bar beneath the part of the call I wanted to apply to. It is really important to note that from the moment you create any of these notes, you have 15 minutes in which to either edit that note or delete that note. After that time period has expired, these notes will then be permanently attached to the call itself. How are you able then to edit or delete any of these notes? It's a simple matter of moving and hovering your mouse over that note, and when it turns into a cross, click with your left mouse on that note. A dialog appears in which there will be 2 buttons. One is the edit button And if you click the edit button, you can now go ahead and edit this note. And the other, when you click on the delete button, it will allow you to delete that note. Notice it gets removed from the single notes bar. It may happen that you may feel that this particular note is not in the exact position you'd like it to be, so you're able to move it to a new position. To do this, move your cursor over the note, and when it goes into a cross, left click your mouse button, and when holding it down, drag your mouse until you see a red circle with a cross line through it. When that appears, release your mouse button and now move your cursor left and right to the position where you would like to reposition this note. Once you get to that position, stop, re-click the left mouse button to lock the note in that position. You have now managed to move that note to a new position. As I no longer want this note as part of this call, I want to delete it, so I hover over it, left click it, go down to the delete button, click the delete, and now that particular note has been removed. The next form of note that you're able to apply to your call is the note over time note. So what you do is you'll go to the section of the call to which you would like to apply the note, then go to the notes over time line beneath that part, and then click with your left mouse. A dialog appears, and inside the little text area, type in the note that you are wanting to enter. Once you've typed in the note, press the save button. Once this note appears, you'll see that it's a small blue vertical line. Move your cursor over that line, and either when it gets into a 45-degree arrow, left click that and drag your mouse cursor left or right to change the size of that particular note block. Releasing the mouse will cause that note block to remain at the size that you've decided it to be. You're able to move the position of this note block by hovering your cursor over the dark blue area, left clicking your mouse once it turns into a cross, and then dragging left or right to the position you want that note to be. And again, you can change the size of this note as necessary. The same rules that were applied to the single notes that you created earlier also applies to the notes over time note. You have 15 minutes in which you are able to edit or delete this note, after which this note will be permanently attached to this call. To edit or delete this note, all you need to do is hover your cursor over the note itself, left click your mouse button, and the dialog appears, and from this dialog you can either go and select the edit button, go and edit the note, or you can go ahead and select the delete button and delete the note. One of the differences between the notes over time and the single notes is that you can only create one note over time. You are not able to create multiple notes as you were in the single notes we discussed earlier. Seeing as I don't want this note any further, I would like to left click it, click on the delete button, and immediately that note disappears. The final form of note that you're able to apply to your call is a facade note, in which it covers the whole call itself. In order to access this particular note, you go to the top right hand side of your call details page, click on the notes button that appears there, and inside the text box you can create yet another note. And once you apply this note will be successfully added to this call. Remember, it is not as granular as the other two, as it is applied right across the call itself. Same rules apply as for single notes and notes over time, in that you have 15 minutes in which you are able to edit or delete this call. after which this note will be permanently attached to the call. Seeing as I don't want this note attached anymore, I'm just going to press the delete button and it will delete that note. Once I've done that, I can press the cancel button. Depending on the licenses and whether transcription has been applied to extensions, you may or may not have the Visual Analytics card displayed in your call details page. Looking at this card, you will see that there are 4 visuals. There's the call sentiment visual, the average cadence visual, interaction word cloud visual, and the call silence visual. These all provide metrics relating to this call. The call sentiment visual provides information to the user as to how the sentiment of the call changed throughout the duration of the call. On the top right-hand side of this visual, the value of the average call sentiment is displayed. The average cadence visual is an indication of the number of words per minute that were occurring throughout the call and at various intervals. And as you hover over each one of the vertical bars, so it will tell you the number of words per minute during that particular period. The top right-hand side of this visual shows the average words per minute for the whole call. The interaction word cloud visual provides a visual to the most common words that were being used during the conversation. And the bigger and the bolder the word, those are the words that seem to be important within the conversation, and the smaller and less bold words were used in the conversation but don't seem to be as important. So this word cloud gives you an indication as to what was being discussed in this conversation. And finally, the call silence visual shows the actual silence periods within the call, and on the top right hand side indicates the average silence for this call. These visuals are super useful for you in being able to analyze this call at a far more granular level, helping you with some of the business decisions that may need to be made on this particular call and agent. The next important card to look at is the automated analytics tools. Again, depending on the licenses that have been applied, so some of these sections may not be visible on your call details page. On the left-hand side is the interaction transcript, which is a transcript of the whole call taking place. If by any chance you have the checkbox auto scroll with call enabled, then as you play the call, higher up over here, then you will see the transcript will show you which line is being said. As mentioned earlier, depending on the licensing that has been assigned, you may or may not see the analytics tool card on the right-hand side. These analytics tools are extremely useful. Let us go ahead and discuss some of these tools. The first one is searching for words or word phrases. So by going to the search field and typing in the word or word phrase that you're looking for inside your transcript and pressing the search icon, CallCabinet will come back and indicate the number of occurrences of that word or word phrase that appear inside your transcript. Those words or word phrases will be highlighted, and you're able to either scroll through the transcript to see those words, or you can press on the up and down arrows to move between each occurrence of the word. And as you press that, so you'll be taken to each occurrence of the word. If you want to search for different words or word phrases, you can then press the cancel button, which will clear the search field, and once again you can type in the word or word phrase that you want to search for. The next tool is the show sentiment. So by clicking on the show sentiment checkbox, two visuals will appear on your interaction transcript. a green dot with the sentence positive sentiment written next to it, and a red dot with the sentence negative sentiment written next to it. The purpose of this is a key. And when you start looking through your transcript, and should you see any of the text in your transcript being highlighted green, then it means that that text has been detected as a positive sentiment. On the other hand, if it is highlighted in red, then that text has been identified as a negative sentiment. The next analytics tool is Show Detected Topics. By clicking on this checkbox, you will notice that inside your transcript, some of the lines get underlined. And when you hover over those lines, what happens is a pop-up appears telling you that the topic detected is mail forwarding for this particular sentence. And as you scroll through your transcript, so you may see other detected topics. The third analytics tool is Show Detected Intents. So clicking on this particular checkbox, once again, in a slightly different color, you will notice that the text inside your transcript is highlighted. And once again, by hovering over that particular text, you will see a pop-up appears that shows you the intent that was detected. Now remember, an intent is something that the agent should be doing. So it's an action that is required. So for instance, this intent says that the agent should check their calendar status. The next section of our analysis tools is to look at our scorecard, the questions and scorecard phrases associated with that question. So what you're able to do is you're able to look at the question, see if the answer is correct, and have a look whether the score phrases are being used correctly against the question in order to provide the correct answer. Now the thing is, which scorecard are you going to use and where are you able to select your different scorecards? At the moment, we have selected the scorecard that has just got the name UK. To select a different scorecard, all you need to do is scroll up in your call details page to the section that is marked Quality Assurance. So for this particular card, you move to the right and click on its circumflex, revealing its contents. And to the right of the quality assurance is a complete evaluations card that has been rendered. And underneath this are all the different scorecards that have been applied to this particular call. And you are now able to go and select different scorecards against which you'd like to do an evaluation. So for example, let's go and click on the RSA scorecard. And once you click on that RSA scorecard, you can scroll back down to the bottom and go to the Analysis Tools section, and you will now see that the RSA scorecard has been selected. Notice too that the very first question is rendered for the scorecard as well as how it was answered. And then underneath this are the scorecard phrases relating to this question. And these are all the phrases that will be applied to your transcript in order to determine whether this particular answer was answered correctly or not. A very useful feature is looking at each phrase. To the right is the hit rate of that phrase. So those phrases that have a very low hit rate, in other words 0% across all calls that apply this particular scorecard, means that this particular phrase really isn't doing any good, so you can remove it. However, if you have a higher hit rate, for example this one over here, 42%, it means that 42% of the calls had this particular call phrase hit in it. So the whole idea of this is you might listen to the call and you might decide, hang on, a corporate greeting was used. Why is the answer no? you can then look at the transcript and you might notice that the words used when using the corporate greeting are not actually appearing in the phrase list. So what you're able to do is you're able to go ahead and add those words to this phrase list. So for instance, they may use the word may I help you. So you could have said may help tilde to, which means now that I can use the sentence may I help you, may you be helped, may we help you, or any of those combinations. The word may help will be detected, and then if it detects those words, it will then say, the corporate greeting was used, so the answer is yes. So once you've entered in what word phrases you're wanting to add to your scorecard, you may then add them to the scorecard. And then when the call is executed and the scorecard is applied to the call, then that word phrase will then be applied against the scorecard as part of the marking process. Please note, as you add the new word phrases now, it's not retrospective. It's from this point onwards, or the point at which you've added those word phrases onwards, that those phrases will be used. Earlier on, we spoke about the quality assurance card. To understand more about quality assurance, please will you go and look at CallCabinet's how-to video on how to perform quality assurance for further details on this. From your call details page, you're also able to summarize this call. So CallCabinet uses generative AI to summarize any calls. And to summarize this call, you'll go to the AI Generate Summary card and locate the Summarize this call button. When you press this button, CallCabinet will kick in its generative AI to go and generate a summary of this call. After a few moments, you'll be informed of the fact that there has been a summary created, and here we are. Here is a summary of the call. Incidentally, it is possible to manually create a transcript from your call listing page as well as a call summary from the same call listing page. From inside your call details page, there are a couple of other things you're able to do on the call. You're able to add tags to the call. So adding a tag is simple by clicking on the tags button at the top, and from the dialog that appears, click on the drop down and all the available tags will be in the list, and you are able to go and select a particular tab. So let's go and select tag of sales call, and if you want to add another tag, you can quite easily do that as well. And let's call this a spam call. And once you've decided on all the tags you want to assign this call, press the submit button. You'll be told that they've been added successfully, and the icon next to the tag's name will change color. Tags are useful when you are wanting to filter your call, because what you're able to do is you're able to select a particular tag, like for instance spam call tag, and then get CallCabinet to list all those calls that have the spam call tag attached to them. There may be times in which you do not want your call to be deleted, even if the retention period has expired. In order to do this, you would go across to the legal hold button and click on that particular button, being informed that the legal hold has been enabled and the gavel changing color to a red, resulting in this call never being able to be deleted. To be able to allow this call to be deleted once a retention period has occurred and not to be stored forever, you can undo the legal hold by clicking on the legal hold button again and seeing the gavel icon change back to the gray color. In a similar way that you are able to add tags to a call, you can add flags to a call, and you can assign a flag to a call. There are 6 different types of flags. There's a red, green, blue flag, a green up thumb and a red down thumb, and a orange bell. Now CallCabinet does not dictate as to what these flags mean. You as an organization can decide what a red flag or green flag or blue flag means. And unlike a tag, you can only assign one flag to a call. Once the flag has been assigned, its color will be applied next to the name of the flag. And should you want to remove that flag, all you need to do is click on the flag itself, removing it. And then from that time on, no flag will be assigned to this call. Flags are similar to tags in that it allows you to filter your calls. So you could ask CallCabinet to filter all the calls that have a green @ attached to them. The logged in user, if it has the permission, are able to share the call. When they click on the share button, a dialog appears and they can then enter in the email address of the recipient to whom they want to share the call. You can have more than one recipient by applying a semicolon between each email address. You can add a comment to the message that will be sent to the recipients. And the logged in user is able to make some choices. In other words, they'll say, well, should I allow the user to be able to see the videos or transcripts or point in time notes? And they may check these checkboxes to provide these extra options that the person they're sharing the call with may see. Please note that all these options might not be visible on your account, because they are determined by your systems administrator. So the systems administrator may enable or disable a number of these checkboxes, so you might not see them all. Once you have entered in all the prerequisite information that is required, you may then click on the share button. The recipients whose emails you have typed in here will then receive an email and a link on which they may click to go and listen to the call that you are sharing with them. Depending on the permissions, the user may also be able to email a call. Please note that when you are emailing a call, the call is in unencrypted format and will be based on the audio format that has been determined by the administrator. Inside the email, when you're sending it, you will type in the recipient's name. There's one thing that you need to be careful of, and that is if the call is too long, the chances are that that call may not be emailed. So as an example, if I'm wanting to email this call and I click on the email button, you will notice that CallCabinet will immediately inform me that the call is too large to email. If the call was not too large, then a dialog box will appear in which I can type in the email address of the recipient to whom I'm wanting to send the call. Please remember, the recipient of an email call will have a physical copy of that call, as it will be an attachment to the email. If the logged in user has permission to download calls, they will have a download button on which they are able to press. By clicking on the download button, the audio of the call will be downloaded to the user's local machine in the format that has been determined by the administrator. The user is also able to download not only the audio but all the media associated with the call by going to the download button, waiting a moment for the next menu item to pop up, which is called All Media. By clicking on the All Media button, the user will wait a few moments and they will be told about the file being generated. Once the file is generated, a notification will be provided at the bottom right-hand side of the screen on which the user will now need to click. This will be a zipped file containing not only the audio but also any other visual media that is associated with the call. Clicking on this download button will then allow your call to be downloaded. Lastly, if the user has permission, they are able to download part of the call. This is a very fancy little feature in which you are able to click on download part, and notice now the oscillogram has gone slightly opaque. The user then is able to select the part of the oscillogram that they would like to download. In other words, that audio that they would like to keep permanently. So they need to click on the oscillogram. You'll see that it goes to a dark blue, and then they can drag the left and right bars for the audio that they want. They are able to drag that section left and right when the cursor goes to a cross. Once they have decided which part of the audio they would like to download as part, they will go to the little download button on the top right hand side, press that download button, and the call will be downloaded. To revert back to the nice clear screen again, all the user needs to do is press the cancel button. Finally, once you have finished working with everything inside your call details page, you're able to go back to your call listing page by clicking the back button. That concludes CallCabinet's introduction to CallCabinet's call details page how-to video. See you in the next video.